Brand new video, you guys. Today we are doing a reaction video. And you can pass it on.
Yeah. So it's top 10 scariest words from prisoner inmates. Let's get right into it.
Alright, let's get this creepy list started. In at number 10 with Gary Gilmore. During a robbery, Gilmore shot a man twice in the head, even though he was cooperating
Twice? Dang.
with his demand. The next day, he attempted to rob a motel, and he ended up fatally shooting the manager in the head. He confessed to the police that he killed 2 people in cold blood, but he was only tried for one of the murders because there wasn't enough physical evidence against him for the other murder. I mean, what the heck? If someone admits to a crime, isn't that enough? Well, the judge sentenced him to a death penalty, and he had a choice of being executed by hanging or shot by a firing squad. I guess he's a fan of irony because he chose to get killed by a firing squad. And his infamous last words were, "Let's do it." Those definitely wouldn't be my final words. I'd probably
Just do it?
That is just a crazy.
Actually, I'd pick that over hanging.
No, I don't. I picked something weird.
Hanging, bro. I would. Hanging.
Hanging will break your neck.
I know.
So you'll die instantly, but with a firing squad. You, like... But if you break your neck, you might not die instantly. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
What would you die by? Comment down below, and... Yeah,
but just
firing
do it.
squad or...
Just do it. Okay, he sounds like he just wants to go to the...
He's like...
Just get it over with.
Just get it over with.
Alright.
screaming. I think Nike must have been inspired by his final last words. Let's do it. Climbing up this list, and at number 9, we're talking about Erskine Childers. Now, I know what you guys must be thinking. Everyone on this list must have committed a horrible crime in order to get the death penalty. Well, he might be our one exception to this rule. Childers was actually an Irish author who wrote a lot of successful novels, but he also had a little bit of a dark side. He would smuggle guns into Ireland with his sailing yacht until he was caught and sentenced to death. I mean, this seems pretty harsh, but this was during the late 1800s. But what makes things even worse, he filed an appeal, and it was pending when they executed him, which is highly illegal today. So before he was executed by a firing squad, he said, "Take a step forward, lads. It will be easier that way."
Oh.
Take a step.
And you can literally see the guns.
Get
So,
bruh, just take a step forward. It will be easier that way, bruh.
How?
I'm just
Okay.
confused. I'm just confused.
Just-
I have a runny nose right now. Just take it. I don't know what. I'm confused.
I don't blame him for being bitter. I think this was a pretty cruel and unusual punishment for his crime. Number 8, we have Jimmy Glass, who said, "I'd rather be fishing." Yeah, no shit. I think I'd rather be in a cave of sleeping grizzly bears or at a One Direction concert than be on the chopping block about to die. It's like Jimmy doesn't really give a shit that he's about to die. I think he must have come to terms with his death because those definitely aren't inspiring or moving last words. I wonder what he picked to be engraved on his tombstone. "I'd rather be alive." But before you start feeling sorry for him, just know that he was a convicted murderer, so he had it coming. John Avalos Alba brings us to number 7. He was handed down the death penalty for fatally shooting his wife while he was out on bail for a child molestation.
Why his wife? Why his wife?
Why his wife? We have a balloon, and I think it's this lady. Just slowly by slowly.
No shit. Alright, but why his wife?
Charge. He was finally executed by lethal injection on May 25th, 2010. I bet the judge who set his bail was feeling really guilty for not setting it higher. So for his final statement on Earth, he said this airy line. "Okay, Warden, let's do it. I love ya. I can taste it already. I'm starting to go." I mean, that's just give.
Whoa.
He can taste it all. He can taste it already.
Wait.
But he's a vampire.
Is he? That was so
He's a vampire.
My God, he's a vampire.
Bruh, no.
Nah, bro, it's just psychopathic. The worst one ever so far. How do we do that? How do we handle it?
I don't know. I can taste. What do you taste? The donuts that you ate like 2 hours ago from McDonald's?
Oh God! All right. Well,
Me chills. I read that you can feel the cold rush of the lethal injection piercing through your veins. Probably the worst feeling ever. And of course, it's the last feeling ever. I don't know whether or not that's true, but I guess I don't care to know. And now, in at our number 6 spot, we have a really odd last words. James French was a convicted murderer, and he was actually the last person to be executed.
Why does he look like 6 years old?
he looks like a guy that is willing to look like a 6-year-old, but willing to act like a 90-year-old, wanting to suck
almost
kids'
death penalty.
toes.
He was a pretty violent man. He was already convicted to life in prison for murdering a man who had picked him up from hitchhiking, but he had the desire to die. So that's when he brutally murdered his cellmate in order to get the death penalty. As soon as he was prepped to be executed,
Okay, that's just depressing.
Why did he? Why did he want to get the death penalty?
Maybe it's because he hates killing people, but he can't stop. It's one of those.
Have you seen the interview where there's this guy who said, so the interviewer actually asked if you'd kill me right now? He said, yes, I would. And the interviewer said, well, that's very brutal, John. I hope you never get out of here. He said, I hope I never get out of here either. So he wants to kill, but he knows it's wrong, which is the worst part.
Most psychopaths aren't even there. Most psychopaths are just born with it, and they don't kill.
by the electric chair, he came up with these infamous last words. How's this for a headline? French fries. Do you guys get it? His last name was French, and he was about to get fried by the electric chair. I know I shouldn't be laughing.
French fries.
Okay,
Bro, he made a pun at the worst time, bro.
Yeah, bro, it could have been like,
Hey, yo,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get French. Wait, what's the?
I'm about to get French fried.
And then he's like, I'm about to get French fried. Well, because it's over.
Why? Oh, happy jolly! It's about to be dead. Imagine.
But before I die, can I have some French fries?
Imagine
That'd be my
words
last
being
word.
French fries.
No.
No. What?
Oh, censor that out.
All right,
Yeah, bro, we gotta censor that out.
all right. Imagine my last word was like cheeseburger.
Dude, mine would be paper. You know, I'd scream paperclip because who screams paperclip?
I don't know.
Laughing, but it's a little clever. From one scary but clever final statement to another, in at number 5 is George Apple. He said, well, gentlemen, you are about to see a baked apple. I would like to think I was given the opportunity for a final statement. I would say something clever like this, but it's also pretty morbid if you think about it. So actually, maybe I would use the opportunity to say something wise. Well, thankfully, I don't really have to think about it because I don't intend to ever be on death row. But anyways, George Apple was originally sentenced to death for committing an evil murder, so I guess he had it coming. Now number 4 brings us to John Rook. In 1980, he kidnapped a 25-year-old nurse in a parking lot where she worked. She was taken to an empty field where she was abused and murdered by Rook. After the killing, he ran her body over with his car. I mean, wow, was that even necessary? After he was sentenced to death, he made several
To be
appeals.
honest, it is really bad. But why does it? Why did it wasn't even necessary?
So there's basically like a dead body on the ground.
Ran
Over to make what?
to get her intentions to make spaghetti. What?
Like to make brain spaghetti.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But they all failed. So on the day of his execution, he said, "Freedom! Freedom at last! It's been..." A good one. Well, I hope you enjoy your freedom, and I'm glad you won't be able to hurt anyone ever again. Tory Twain McNabb takes us to number 3 on our list. He was executed by lethal injection
Nab. He looks kind of bad, like McDonald's. Kind of.
Yeah.
He's not.
He looks like
Probably right
yeah.
before this picture.
for killing a police officer back in 1997. His lawyers attempted to make an
It's a Big
You
Mac.
gotta get a McFlurry up in here, bro.
appeal stating that the state's execution method
McFlurry, you have one right there.
Replace the
Right here.
poison and the lethal injection for the McFlurries.
All right.
was cruel and unusual. But the judge was pretty firm and declined their appeals. So during his final minutes, he said, "Mom, sis, look at my eyes. I got no tears. I am unafraid. To the state of Alabama, I hate you. I hate..." I hate you. And as the procedure began, he raised his middle finger to the police officers, and he actually died in that position.
Imagine he died in the position like, and
No,
then
he
he got buried like.
No, he was like,
Did he get buried like that?
I hope he did.
I really hope so.
Way to go. Not. And now at number 2 is Carlos Granados. During a heated argument with his girlfriend, he grabbed a large kitchen knife and stabbed her
No, I need to hear how many times he stabbed her.
3-year-old son. I mean, whoa.
We should have 3-year-old son next.
Wow. Wow.
Talk about anger management issues. And he also stabbed his girlfriend 30 times, but she survived and was able to testify against him in court. For his final meal,
What? What are the odds? Wait, I actually saw this TV show when I was really young, where there's this guy on Dateline or some crap that stabbed some girl like multiple times, like in the side, and it didn't puncture any organs, nothing. Except it was 45 times.
Look it up. That's love in Call of Duty.
Bro, that is so Call of Duty.
lethal injection, he said, Kathy, you know I never meant to hurt you. I gave you everything.
Then why did you stab her 30 fucking times?
Oh, and stabbed her. You're a 3-year-old.
And that's what made me so angry. But I never meant to hurt you. I'm sorry. Well, I think it's a little bit too late for an apology. I hope she didn't even show up to his execution. Topping off this morbid list, and at number 1, we have Petermanuel. He is actually known as Scotland's worst serial killer ever. He was convicted of murdering a total of 7 people between the years of 1956 and 1958. But it is believed that he killed many, many more.
I mean, he looks freaking innocent.
No, he did not.
Okay, he looks kind of sus.
He looks pretty sus.
But why did he wear a freaking tuxedo? To his, like, you know...
He looks like a hitman.
People. He was hanged at Glasgow's Barlinnie prison, and he was one of the last people to have ever been executed in these gallows ever since the death penalty was overturned. But before he stepped out to his death, he said, "Turn up the radio and I'll go quietly." There's just something about that statement that gives me the chills.
Turn off the radio.
Turn off the radio.
That sounds like a setup, though.
No, that wasn't a setup.
I thought that was a plan for something so he can escape, though.
Yeah, but he clearly didn't.
Yeah.
Turn up the... Well, yeah, that boy did.
Yeah, that boy did, bro.
Bro, I think he goes.
Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Okay, we need to take a break from that.